This presentation covers Chapter 3 of our textbook about drafting a technical document. This chapter is short, but the information is important, so I do expect you to still read the chapter. All right. Now, what I'm going to talk about in this presentation is the 5 steps to writing a technical document. And I'm just going to kind of go into a little bit more detail about these 5 steps. And that includes planning, drafting, revising, editing, proofreading. Those are the 5 steps. Okay? And then I'm just going to wrap it up with a conclusion at the end and send you on your merry way to read the rest of the text. Okay? All right, so the 5 steps of the writing process. Like I'd already mentioned, planning, drafting, revising, editing, and proofreading. Those are the steps. Typically you want to try to do them in order, but a lot of times they can be non-linear. All right, you may find yourself going back to the planning phase when you're in the middle of the editing phase. All right, so just be aware that they can be a little more fluid. All right, so let's start with the planning phase. Planning phase. It's the biggest chunk. Takes the most time. Make sure you're spending plenty of time in planning. If you are not, go back and plan some more. Okay, this is when you're going to be doing things like analyzing your audience. Figuring out who's going to read this document and what they expect to get from it and how they're going to use it. All right, those are the key things there. So make sure that you understand that. Then you need to think about your purpose. What is the document going to be used for, and what do you want your reader to learn? Then you need to choose your tools. And when I say choose your tools, in our case, we're going to be using Microsoft Word. That's going to be our tool for the majority of the documents that we create for our class. Another tool is going to be Blackboard. We're going to use that as well. So think about the tools that you're going to use for what you're going to create. Then start brainstorming ideas about the subject, and on pages 44 and 45, you have table 3.1. It's techniques for generating ideas about your topic. Read through that. It's got some great ideas. So we got the brainstorming, we got free writing, we got talking to someone and clustering. These are all great ways to really generate good ideas about your subject. And then you need to do your research. You need to talk to subject matter experts. You need to talk to other people to bring those other elements together. And then you got to think about your delivery method. Is this going to be only online? Should you make that Word document into a PDF? Is it going to be made for print? Got to think about those things when you're creating the document because they will influence how you make the document look. And then, of course, as always, money and time are the big things that can make or break a project. So you just got to take those into consideration early on so that you don't find yourself shortchanged later on. All right, the drafting phase. So in the drafting phase, you're going to want to start with a preliminary outline. That's where you're going to start. Okay. Now in the book, it starts saying, should you use a template? My personal opinion is start with a blank document. Don't worry about templates because templates will throw you off. When you're ready to make that finished draft, then consider a template. But even then, do so hesitantly. Templates can throw things off and change the way that you have things spaced out in your document in ways that you didn't foresee. So just make sure that you use templates wisely. Now styles, on the other hand, styles can make a big difference. And on page 51 of our textbook, Tech Tip Box talks about how to use styles. You're going to be using these. I'm going to go over these more later when we create our Word document. But basically this helps you chunk information by giving you the ability to set text font and size and color and position for headings and things like that to break up your information. So styles is awesome. Read that section, bookmark it because it's important. And then you need to use drafting techniques to facilitate the process. Okay, so now what I mean by that is going back to pages 48 and 49 in the textbook, there's the drafting effectively guidelines box. All right, this means getting comfortable in your surroundings so you have a good environment to write in. And you need to start with your easier topics, work towards your harder topics, and break them down into sizable chunks.
Make sure that you're able to walk away from your computer periodically so that way you give yourself a chance to refresh. Draft quickly. Don't spend a lot of time worried about punctuation stuff. Just get it down on paper and then go back and edit. And then don't go back and get more information when you're drafting. Just get what you've got down, and then when you go back to edit, you can see where the spots are that you need to refill. So that's what I mean by use drafting techniques. So revising comes down to going back and looking at certain things. So what you need to focus on is your audience. Is your document still speaking to the audience that you initially started out thinking the document was for? Has your understanding of the audience changed? Has it remained the same? Then you need to think about the purpose. Has your purpose for the document changed? Has your understanding for the purpose of the document changed? And if so, then you have to adjust what you're writing accordingly. Okay? If you write me a paper, it's not going to be the same as writing it for one of your classmates. Kind of an FYI there. All right, and then your subject. Is your subject changing as you are writing? Have you noticed that it's not the same from the beginning to the end? If so, make sure that you update for that as well. Now, self-revising is basically you focusing on the big stuff and working down to the small stuff. Don't start with the small and nitty-gritty stuff like punctuation and grammar, and don't focus on that. Focus on, are you hitting the topics? Are you getting the point across? Then talk to your subject matter experts and another person to review your document with you, so that way they can give you a perspective that you don't have on your own. And now we're coming down to the editing section. This is what you need to check for. So this is where you do your grammar and your punctuation and your style and your usage and your diction and your mechanics. Make sure that all those little things are in check. So editing for the little things. Proofreading. Proofreading, you're just looking for misused words and incorrect word choices. So using FOR for FOUR or using TOO for TO. Make sure you're using the correct words. So then the next thing you need to look for too is using alternative media. A lot of times what I'll do is I will write something on the computer, read through it, and then realize, I just don't feel like I've got it down. So I'll print out the document and read through it and do my proofreading that way. So that's what I mean by use alternative media. And then make sure you read each sentence carefully, looking for those misused words, those wrong strings of words. All right, so now conclusion. Make sure that you know the 5 steps, backwards and forwards: planning, drafting, revising, editing, and proofreading. Make sure that you understand the process is nonlinear. And bear in mind that your audience and purpose is key throughout the entire writing process. Make sure you know who you're writing for and why. And then make sure you use your reviewers. Have other people help you and know what media you can use to check your work. And that's it.